Hey friends, it's me Alyssa on Live in Loca Atlanta. I'm here with my friends for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm with Tammy and Eric from the Pink Frog Foundation, and they're doing something super special this month, and I brought them on to talk to you all about it. I want to first and foremost say thank you for joining me on such a special month and ask you a little bit about the history behind Pink Frog.
Well, thank you for inviting us. It all started, I'm a 32-year breast cancer survivor, and that's not right. I'm a 26-year breast cancer survivor. And so, what we decided to do was just mimic what people did for me. So, back then in 1997, when I was diagnosed, my friends and my family stepped in and they would come and help clean my home, would help Robert, my husband, get me to doctor's appointments, and my brother's mom fixed a meal every week for 11 months, the entire time that I was off from work.
Wow.
And so fast forward, I was just thinking, when the Lord does something for you, heal your body or whatever the case may be, there's more work for you to be done, or for you to do. And so I just had a conversation with my husband and said, hey, let's start a foundation that do the things that people did for me. So our foundation supports breast cancer patients while they're undergoing treatment, traditional chemotherapy, and radiation, and we supply maid service, meal service, and transportation.
Let's talk a little bit about community. One of the things I've come to learn over the years, especially from the years of community work I've done with people, especially when it comes to this time of year, so many survivors and families talk about how important the community is. How did it feel knowing you're creating a community for not just one person, not just two people, but for many families and for many fighters and survivors?
Well, I tell you, it made me feel really special. Sometimes you look for gratitude for the most part, but if you just have that one person to say thank you, send you a thank you card, and say that you helped me, I mean, it just makes you feel very special. I had one particular patient that told me before we started the maid service for her, she had actually cleaned her bathtub with her foot. Because after breast surgery, you have drain tubes, and so you're very limited on that side, range of motion, and you have to just be very careful with all of that. And so she was trying to clean her tub, but she was doing it with a towel with her foot. So when you hear those type of stories with someone that you've helped, it just makes you feel special.
Absolutely. You all have an incredible event coming up. It's actually on Friday, October 6th. Let's talk a little bit about that. It's your Pink Frog Affair. How did this come into fruition and what can people expect?
So my husband is a event planner. And so when I was diagnosed, 10 years after, for just my 10-year celebration, it was called the Pink Affair. And so everything was 10. So it was $10, 10x, that whole thing. And so he decided, let our major fundraiser be the Pink Affair. So since the foundation was the Pink Frog, which is the acronym for Fully Rely on God, we decided to do the event, just start the event. So it's a wonderful event. We have poetry, music, all different types of dance. You get a little R&B, a little jazz, and then we always climax with a gospel artist. And this year our artist is Yolanda Adams.
That is incredible. Eric, do you have anything you want to share? What's your connection to breast cancer and Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
Well, I'm actually a 23-year male breast cancer survivor, and you don't hear about it as often the men. And then the ones that get it sometimes don't want to talk about it because they feel stigmatized. But I just said, here's an opportunity. I get the diagnosis at the age of 34. Had two small children, a 13-month-old and a 3-year-old. And here I am with this breast cancer diagnosis and looking at my wife saying, how am I going to navigate? What's going to happen? I'd heard about everything with women, but I'd never experienced it as a man. My mother was a breast cancer survivor. 4 years before I was diagnosed, she was diagnosed. So I got to know her surgical oncologist very well. Didn't know that in turn her surgical oncologist would become mine. And so she's operated on my mother and myself. Actually, with my mother twice. She has two bouts of breast cancer, beat both of them because of early detection. And of course, with men, we're not getting mammograms. So, it's not as often detected when it probably could be detected a little greater. We're not also taught to do self-exams, which is something that we have to deploy as well.
Absolutely. What would you say for people at home, or, you know, what can they do for at-home prevention or at-home exams? What can people do in their life or their daily lifestyles to be aware, keep their eyes open, to learn about prevention and possibly early detection?
Well, I would say, exercise is key to everything. You have to stay active. I found my breast cancer, I found my lump because I was exercising, because I was doing push-ups, and I felt excruciating pain that I never noticed. And the exercise is crucial, mental, physical, and spiritual. It hits all the corridors, and that's a key part. And then knowing your body. If something is different, feels different, acts different, any type of expression, especially for a man, but for women as well, that is coming from the breast area, that needs to be examined. If you feel a lump, get it examined. Don't wait. My doctor said if I waited, there would have been a different conversation. When they went through my surgery, I had a radical mastectomy. They removed all the breast tissue here on the right side, went underneath, extracted muscle from my back, and did a simultaneous reconstruction so my chest would remain symmetrical. When they were doing that, they also did what's called a lymph node dissection. And when they did the lymph node dissection, they uncovered that cancer was already in my lymph nodes.
Wow.
So had I waited, it could have metastasized into another region of my body. And that's the danger of cancer, it growing somewhere else that you're unaware of. So that's why they were very aggressive with my chemo for 6 months.
Wow, that's an incredible story. I want to talk a little bit about the services Pink Frog offers. You mentioned, helping in the home through cleaning and, food prep services. What are some other services you offer to the community?
Awareness is one, but I just want to explain our services. So, maid service, we send a maid once a month up to 12 months. Food service, we don't deal directly with food. We send a Kroger gift card of $200 once a month up to 12 months. And then transportation is on a as needed basis. So sometimes we get, people that needs transportation to their chemotherapy or radiation, of some sort, and then they give us a call and we support them in that fashion. So our biggest thing is we just want to bring awareness, the services that we offer, but the awareness. Because as you've heard Eric explain, we had the exact same procedures done. I had a radical mastectomy, and so it's something that we just want to bring awareness to. A lot of men don't understand that they can indeed, they have breasts.
Right.
So we want to just bring awareness. We want to bring awareness to African American women. They're 47% higher to get breast cancer and at a more aggressive stage when they're diagnosed. So just our biggest thing is just wanting to bring awareness.
And to add to that, not only are the diagnoses greater, the mortality rates and percentages are greater in African Americans as well.
Mm-hmm.
So again, early detection is key to saving your life and possibly preventing you from having to go into more invasive surgery. Had mine been caught earlier, maybe a lumpectomy instead of a radical mastectomy.
Absolutely. I do have one last question I want to ask you all, and that is really just what piece of advice or, what encouraging words can you give anybody who's currently struggling with breast cancer right now?
I want to stay encouraged, believe in your faith, and if you don't have a faith, I would trust that you would get a faith of whatever that is, a higher being. And just always think positive. That was my thing that got me through. I had a very negative diagnosis. I was diagnosed with inflammatory breast cancer, aggressive stage 3, and so that first particular doctor said that only about 40% survived. So I think my faith in God, number one, and that my positive attitude really helped bring me through.
And I kind of echo those sentiments. You've got to decide that your diagnosis and your prognosis don't have to be the same. Just because you get a breast cancer diagnosis, it's not a death sentence. And you have to fight with that mindset that you're going to win against this. And also, don't fight alone. There are lots of support groups that will help, kind of weather the storm. And we have a buddy system. That's another part of one of the services. So that we want to pair someone with you that can talk you through it. The person they're talking to may also be a breast cancer survivor. Could be me. Could be Tammy. Could be someone else. But my key point there is stay connected. And don't just read everything on the internet about breast cancer, because sometimes you can begin to interpret the negative when you're a patient trying to go through all the things. So stay connected, and really have a good dialogue with your physicians as well, and keep reaching out, because there's somebody there that'll take you by the hand.
Absolutely. How can people stay in touch with Pink Frog? How can they donate and support you all?
Through our website, www.thepinkfrogfoundation.org, and there's a donation button, there's a services button.
Absolutely. One last question before we wrap it up. It's about your event happening on October 6th. What time does it start, and where can people find more information?
On our website, they can find more information at www.thepinkfrogfoundation.org, and it's October the 6th. It starts at 7:30, Morehouse College, King's Chapel.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me on a special episode of Live and Local Atlanta. I'm your host, Alyssa. If you want to stay up to date with me and exclusive conversations just like this one, be sure and download the free Odyssey app today. That's AUDACY. Make sure you favorite Star 94 Atlanta so you can get this conversation exclusively right on your phone. Of course, follow Star 94 Atlanta across all social media at Star 94 Atlanta, and stay up to date with me at itsme_Alyssa D. I'll see you guys next time.